Hello and welcome to the very late 2018 Roundup challenge as nominated by Terry King on robotic allotment gardening on budget. Now some people visiting my channel commented that they thought the music was sort of very flashy and on theme of a game show. So for the purpose of this video we have flashcards. So let's get started. So what was your best crop of 2018? This had to be strawberries for us. We actually had two pickings of strawberries, one in the early summer and one in early autumn, and we literally had loads and loads and loads. Ben was eating them all the time while he was up at the plot. So number 2, what was your worst crop of 2018? So for us this had to be the brassicas, the cabbages, Brussels and things like that. Now our crop netting was, the holes were too small and the cabbage moths were getting in and sort of laying their eggs and larvae with just plastering caterpillars, and by the time we picked it up and changed the netting, sort of irreparable damage had already been done. So number 3 is, what would you do definitely or lessons learned from 2018? So the first one is definitely the crop protection. We've ordered 100 meters of veggie mesh from Amazon, and that should be sort of sufficient to cover every raised bed that we have. The other issue we have is water storage. Now there is one communal tank for every 3 plots at the bottom, and this is similar to what a header tank you'd get in your loft with a ball cock, so you have to keep going backwards and forwards with watering cans to get our water. Now what we actually did last year is we brought a drill pump and a cordless drill with a couple of batteries, and you put one end into the water butt, connect it to the drill pump, and on the other end your hose pipe. Now we did manage to use this method to water the plot. Now it didn't give us a a powerful jet, but it was sufficient enough to leave running slowly on every inch of the plot. Yeah, so water storage, we want to do is the blue barrels that we got, we want to convert those into water butts and drain off water from the sheds into the water butts. So number 4, what was your biggest challenge of 2018? Definitely the watering, what we just spoke about. Just couldn't get enough water on the crops, and with last year's very hot summer, it was just a nightmare trying to keep everything watered enough. So number 5, what are your plans for 2019? So our plans are that we want to get a second shed on our second plot. Now we're only allowed 6x4 sheds and have to be uniformly laid out according to our allotment rules. But the 6x4 shed we've got at the minute we're using sort of portrait, where the door is at one end of the shed, and we've got all our sort of tools and that in there. Now the second shed on the other plot again will be 6x4, but we're going to have the door on the landscape side, so the door will be middle at the front of the shed, and inside we want to sort of set it up so if it's wet weather or cold weather we can just go in there and sit down, have a cup of tea and just sort of protect ourselves from the elements. Actually let's go and have a look. So our plans for 2019 over the 2 plots, there's this one here which we've rotivated and sort of sown directly into the ground on the top plot, which is the no dig raised beds. Now we actually want to get a second shed on the top plot, and we're only allowed a 6x4 wooden shed, and it's only allowed in one location within uniformity across the whole site. And the second shed we want to use for sort of bad weather and for tea making, so we can sit inside away from all the elements of the weather and make our cups of tea. So to do that, we've actually got to move all the fruit from our top plot up here. That's the raspberries, the tayberries, the rhubarb and the small patio trees. We're going to have to move that into this area here, and that will be just sort of planted straight into the ground, and then the shed will go in this top left corner up here, and all the fruit move down to here. Well, then where all the fruit was in that top plot, we're going to continue the raised bed theme all the way up to the boundary of the plot, and should create 21 no dig plots. So that's potential for 21 different varieties of crops that we can grow in 2019. Now the last one is who inspired you in 2018. Now there are 2 people, and I'm going to leave the links in the description of the video here, but the first one is Ian Nocton. Now I don't know if any of you have been following Ian Nocton and his story on his allotment. He had a big greenhouse, a shed, and he built all these raised beds on the whole of his plot. Now Ian loved his allotment, but unfortunately he had sort of family issues, which meant that he could no longer continue with the allotment, and sadly he had to give it up. Now his story does make it quite emotional, because he loved his plot, and but he had to make the choice to give it up. So although he's not filming anymore, definitely go and have a look at his videos and see how he done things. It may be able to give you an insight or tips and hints of what you want to do on your plot. So again, that is Ian Nocton. Now the second person is actually the person who nominated me for this challenge. That was Terry King at Robotic Allotment Gardening on a Budget. And Terry, as you know, likes to do everything on a budget on his plot. If you can get something for free or out of skip, he'll do it. He has water storage like this, there's no tomorrow. He's got tanks, IBC tanks, barrels, just everywhere, and he collects the water from polytunnels, sheds, runoffs, wherever there's a will and a way, and Terry will do it. So yeah, thank you Terry, and again the link for Terry is in the bottom. Now the next part of the video is supposed to actually nominate 2 people. However, because I'm so late doing this and there's no sort of doing these challenges anymore, I'm going to leave it there, and probably it'll be something that we'll do at the end of 2019. Hopefully we can get it done a little bit earlier, just sort of time restraints with family over Christmas and working commitments event. We just haven't had time to get this video done, so you know, here we are now. So let's hope you have a good 2019, and I look forward to seeing all your plans over the coming months. Happy gardening.